What's up and welcome to Guiding Bolt. Today we're going to learn how to make a half circle cloak. Today's tutorial is so simple and easy, it doesn't even require sewing. Let's get started.
The first thing we want to discuss is the fabric. So if we're keeping this project super simple and easy, we want to pick a fabric type or material that doesn't fray. This means that we don't have to sew or hem the edges to prevent the fabric from unraveling. Today I've chosen a fleece. This is a great material that won't fray, and it's also nice and soft and cozy for a cloak. The other thing you want to take into consideration is the total width of the fabric. A lot of fabrics will come in common widths of 56 inches, 58 inches, or 60 inches. And this is important because the total width will affect how long your fabric can go. So fabric will be on the bolt, and then you unravel it for your length. Most bolts will say right on the label how wide the fabric is, but this fabric here, once you unfold it all the way out, is a total of 60 inches. So when purchasing my fabric, I want to purchase a length of fabric that's twice the width. So this fabric is 60 inches wide. I want to purchase 120 inches in length. And that will give us just enough fabric to make the cloak with the hood without a lot of excess scrap, allowing us to be good stewards of our money.
Once you have your fabric at home, lay it out on a flat surface and fold it in half so you have 2 layers of fabric that are in a square. So again, if our fabric was 60 inches wide, we purchased 120 inches in length, and we'd fold that over to have a 60 by 60 square. Now today's cloak I'm actually scaling down for my 12-year-old stepson, and to measure for his size I measured collarbone to ankle bone because he wanted a full-length cloak, which was 49 inches, and then I added 7 inches to account for the hood length that we'll be cutting off in the corner. So my length here is going to be measured out for 56 inches instead of doing the full 60 inches. Our next step is to trace out a radius of our circle. We'll be drawing a quarter circle, and then of course once you unfold the fabric that turns into a half circle. It helps to have a friend or heavy object to pin down your measuring tape in one corner to help you trace this out. If you have a piece of chalk, I'd recommend using that as your tracing implement. That will be easier to wash out of the fabric. I will be using a marker, so it's hopefully easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. But when I go to cut out my fabric, I'm going to make sure that I cut on the inside of that line so I leave no marker behind on my cloak.
I have my tape measure pinned in the corner by a table, so I'm going to come out to 56 inches. I'm actually going to go just a tad bit further out so that I have room to cut off my marker tracing without leaving a path. Next we want to cut out the hole for our neckline. So we're going to come up to the top corner where we were pinned down before, and we're going to trace at about 6.5 inches. If you think you want a larger neck hole, go ahead and go out to maybe 7.5, but 6.5 inches is a good standard size for most average necks.
Once our lines are drawn, it's time to cut out our cloak. If you use marker like me, make sure that you cut on the inside of the marker line so that you're trimming that marker mark away. And if you have a salvage or raw edge on your fabric, like I do here, you can go ahead and trim all the way down the length of that to get rid of that. Now our piece on the bottom, this is what we're going to use for our hood. I have already cut off that raw salvage edge. So to orientate yourself, over here, this is the base of the hood. So this is where it's going to attach to the cloak, and the cloak would go out that direction. This edge right here is where your face is, so you'll be looking out in this way. And then the back of the hood would be over here. And this can be a rounded shape, a pointed shape, whatever you wish.
For length measurements here, we want the base of the hood where we're attaching it to our cloak to be roughly the same size as that corner we cut out in that in the top of our cloak. So we're going to cut about 12 inches here. For the height or depth of the cloak, we want a little bit of volume to this. There's nothing worse than a hood that's too small and too tight. So I'm going to measure out 22 inches here. And then my stepson has requested a pointed hood, so I will sketch that shape out for the back of the hood. Now that we have our hood cut out, it's time to either sew or glue the two pieces of fabric together. Remember, the front part of the hood where the face looks out and the bottom of the hood where we're attaching it to the cloak, we're going to leave untouched for now. We're going to be sewing or gluing the back side of the hood and the top side of the hood. Identify which sides of your fabric are the right sides and the wrong sides. So the right side of the fabric is the outside facing fabric, while the wrong side of the fabric is the side that you want facing inward. What we're going to do is we're going to take the wrong sides of the fabric, have them facing outward, and we want the right sides of the fabric facing inward or touching each other. So now I'm going to be sewing the back and the top of the hood. Now if you're going to glue this, I'll throw a link down below in the description to a glue that's good for using with felt. The trick with gluing felt is that you're going to want to lay a line of glue about 1/4 inch from the edge and then press the edges together. The trick is you want that glue to work itself into the fibers, and then you also have to give it enough time for it to properly dry. I would recommend taking some large paper clips or even those clips that you stick on a chip bag and kind of clamping your fabric down to help hold it in place as it dries. I'll go get my sewing machine out and we'll do a simple straight stitch along the top and back edges. After your hood is sewn or glued, flip it right side out so that the correct side of the fabric is on the outside and your seam is on the inside. We're now going to attach the hood to the cloak. So again, you want to have the wrong sides facing out. So that's the side down on the bottom here and the side of the hood here facing up. And then my right sides of the fabric, which is this side of the hood and this side of the cloak, are touching each other. And then I've gone ahead and pinned them in place, and we're going to sew this shut with a straight stitch again, or you can also use the glue method. step for our cloak is attaching a fastener. You could get some ribbon and then sew or glue it on kind of the inside areas of your cloak here. Or if we're keeping this simple, go and order a cloak fastener. Simple little clasp, no sewing or gluing required. Just a little claw clamp that clips right on both sides. Easy peasy.
That does it for today's tutorial. If you enjoyed this video, please give our video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you want more tutorials on how to make costumes and other basic pieces like this, leave us a comment down below. Until next time, have a great day, everyone.